你好.
Although he doesn't understand Chinese, but he's very handsome, a Korean Chinese from North Korea, and part of the North Korean military.
Recently, a Chinese netizen met a North Korean soldier in Russia and posted a video of their conversation. In the video, we see a few North Korean soldiers who appear short and slender. They seem nervous, maybe because it's their first time encountering the outside world, which could be overwhelming for them. Amid a critical turn in the Russia-Ukraine war, growing evidence shows that North Korean soldiers have been ordered to go to Russia, with plans to soon enter the Ukrainian battlefield. Both the US and NATO have confirmed this. The North Korean troops are adding new combat strength to Russia. Behind this deployment lies a complex global struggle, with the North Korea-Russian military alliance potentially escalating into an international conflict. According to the New York Times on October 28th, Pentagon Deputy Press Secretary Sabrina Singh told reporters, "We believe that the DPRK has sent around 10,000 soldiers in total to train in eastern Russia that will probably augment Russian forces near Ukraine over the next several weeks." She added that some of these soldiers are now close to Ukraine, and that officials are increasingly concerned that Russia intends to use these soldiers in combat or to support combat operations against Ukrainian forces in Russia's Kursk Oblast, near the border with Ukraine. On the same day, U.S. President Joe Biden, when asked about North Korea sending troops to support Russia, called it very dangerous. European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen described North Korea's support for Russia as a serious escalation and a threat to global peace, stating that the EU would respond in partnership with allies. Reports from Ukraine reveal that North Korean troops sent to Russia have already started arriving in Russia's western Kursk region. What stands out is that Kim Yong-bok, a trusted figure of the North Korean leadership and deputy chief of the general staff, has also arrived in Russia. Who is Kim Yong-bok? He is a major figure in North Korea's military, once leading the Elite Storm Corps, or the 11th Corps, and serves as a close military advisor to Kim Jong-un. His role as commander indicates that North Korea is taking this deployment seriously. Of course, Russia has consistently denied reports about North Korea sending troops and Kim Yong-bok's arrival. On October 29th, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky posted on social media that he had a phone call with South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol. They discussed North Korean involvement in the Russia-Ukraine conflict. Zelensky stated that around 3,000 North Korean soldiers are already at Russian training grounds near the conflict zone, with the number expected to grow to about 12,000. He shared that Ukraine and South Korea have agreed to strengthen intelligence to prepare strategies for the escalating situation. Ukraine confirmed on October 17th that North Korean soldiers are already on the battlefield, with 6 reportedly killed near Donetsk. On October 21st, South Korea's first vice foreign minister, Hong-kyun, summoned the Russian ambassador to South Korea to formally protest North Korea's dispatch of troops to Russia. According to South Korea's National Intelligence Service, North Korean soldiers sent to Russia are paid around $200 per month. Given North Korea's economic hardship, this amount is 23 times the average local income, making it an attractive sum for North Korean soldiers. This wage is similar to what Russia pays for mercenaries. Most North Korean soldiers heading to Russia are in their early 20s, with some even younger than 20. The National Intelligence Service commented that North Korea's elite Storm Corps soldiers have received basic combat training. While their combat ability shouldn't be underestimated, their lack of experience in modern warfare raises doubts about their effectiveness. A North Korean defector disclosed that despite the high status of military personnel in North Korea, non-elite soldiers often face poor treatment. With international sanctions and pandemic-related challenges cutting off overseas labor income, North Korean authorities turn to sending soldiers to Russia. Though Russia offers a high salary to North Korean soldiers, many analysts question whether the soldiers will actually receive these wages. Beyond the risk of being cannon fodder due to limited combat experience, North Korea is likely to take a cut of their pay as well. South Korean Defense Minister Kim Yong-hyun bluntly described these North Korean soldiers as bullet-stopper mercenaries. He explained that in standard military deployment, soldiers retain their national command structure and wear uniforms with their country's insignia. However, these North Korean soldiers wear Russian military uniforms and are fully under Russian command, lacking any independent decision-making power in combat. In an attempt to encourage defections, Ukraine is broadcasting messages in Korean to North Korean soldiers, urging them to surrender. Surrender. Ukraine will provide you with shelter, food, and warmth. Another message warns, don't meet the same fate as the hundreds of thousands of Russian soldiers who will never return home. Living in an isolated society with limited information, North Korean soldiers are unaware of the outside world and have little knowledge of modern military technology. Many suffer from chronic malnutrition, which affects their physical strength and combat readiness. Coupled with a language barrier, these soldiers are essentially targets on the battlefield, and anyone given a chance to escape from North Korea may seize it. An alleged defector from the Korean People's Army recently called on North Koreans in Russia not to risk their lives for Kim Jong-un. This call highlights the need for North Koreans deployed to the Russia-Ukraine front lines to consider their choices and future, as this could be their best chance to escape North Korea. The Russian invasion of Ukraine has continued for 3 years, and many young Chinese men, influenced by CCP propaganda, have joined the fight in Russia, often meeting tragic ends. On October 25th, a Chinese mercenary known as Red Macron warned his fellow countrymen during a live stream not to come to Russia to fight. With regret in his voice, he said he had no idea the Russian army would treat Chinese soldiers as expendable, lamenting that it was too late for him to turn back.
I wonder if my real experiences will calm down some of the pro-Russia supporters back home. They don't believe it, though. Someone asked me why I went to another country to be cannon fodder. I didn't know the Russian army would treat me as cannon fodder before I came. If you don't respect me, why should I risk my life for you? From the moment I arrived at the training camp in Rostov, I faced severe racial discrimination. Russians looked down on black people and Chinese people. I came with good intentions to help Russia. Was it just for the money? At the base, foreign soldiers like us are constantly given work, chopping wood, doing this, doing that, while the Russians do nothing. Even though I'm a veteran, they keep piling on the work. If you refuse, they make things difficult for you and don't want you to leave alive. Every day alive is a blessing here. It's a passive situation. I keep trying to warn people, telling them the harsh reality, but they won't listen. Many rush here and end up regretting it, but by then, it's too late.
This video sparked heated discussions online. One person commented, "It's understandable. Russia has never been friendly to China throughout history. Ordinary people shouldn't expect respect from the Russians by joining their war. If even the Chinese government doesn't respect you, why would Russia?" Another remarked, "Why aren't the children of officials going to help Russia? It's always the children of common people being sent as cannon fodder. Haven't they seen through the Communist Party yet?" In another video, Red Macron shared his brutal experience on the Russia-Ukraine front lines, where he narrowly escaped a drone attack. He explained, "You can't imagine the situation here. I had no strength, just trying to dodge the shells. It was so hard. I found a small cave by the road to hide in overnight, with loitering munition passing every 20 minutes. On the battlefield, he said, every move of the Russian troops is visible to the Ukrainian forces. During my second mission, we hid in a house, but Russian drones bombed us. They changed location multiple times, moving from house to cave as the previous shelters were destroyed. You can't imagine," Red Macron said. "One explosion left me stunned. Only 3 meters away. There was dust and fire everywhere. The experience was terrifying." In his video, he pleaded with Chinese people not to come to Russia. "Some still want to come," he said. "I haven't even engaged directly with Ukrainian forces, and it's already like this. When firefights start, it's hopeless. Both sides bombard the area. There are almost no survivors. Anyone who makes it out of these battle zones are incredibly lucky. War is horrific, so I don't understand why people still want to come." A vlogger called Rabbit in the Bear's Den went to Russia as a mercenary, and later posted a video revealing the truth, saying he regrets it. He urged others not to get involved in this mess. His monthly earnings are only about 200,000 rubles, or just over $2,000. Many Chinese who join the Russian army believe they're fighting for a just cause, but end up as expendable invaders. They could have led normal lives, but now die dishonorably in a foreign land. They might not be evil, just naive or brainwashed by the CCP. He warned other Chinese not to be fooled into risking their lives for Putin. Almost all Chinese mercenaries in Russia strongly urge their fellow citizens not to go to Russia as soldiers. According to social media posts, several young Chinese men have died shortly after joining in, with some even killed on their first day at the front. Among those fallen is a Henan native known as the Warden, whose real name was Xu Hang, as well as Zhao Rui from Sichuan. Another Chinese national, mercenary Li Jianwei, was captured by Ukrainian forces. Many Chinese netizens remarked that being taken as a prisoner by Ukraine was, in a way, fortunate, as at least it meant survival. On October 28th, after a briefing by South Korean intelligence and military officials, NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte stated to the media that North Korea's military involvement signifies a significant escalation in Pyongyang's role in Russia's illegal war in Ukraine. This move, he noted, is a dangerous expansion of the conflict and a direct violation of United Nations Security Council resolutions. Rutte observed that North Korea's deployment in Kursk reflects Putin's growing desperation. With over 600,000 Russian soldiers killed or wounded, Russia would not be able to continue its assault on Ukraine without foreign assistance. The BBC reported that this was NATO's first official acknowledgement of North Korean forces actively operating in Russia's Kursk region. In a call with Rutte, South Korean President Sun Yuk-yeol urged NATO to explore concrete countermeasures and affirmed intention to strengthen security cooperation between South Korea, Ukraine, and NATO. Moon Sok-mok from the Korean National Strategy Institute told the BBC that North Korea's involvement could open the door for greater international engagement in the conflict, potentially drawing more countries into the war. If North Korean forces continue participating in the Russia-Ukraine conflict, the U.S. Department of Defense indicated that it would not impose new restrictions on Ukraine's use of U.S. weapons. Some experts suggest that the shift from a regional conflict to a world war could hinge on third-party nations deploying troops directly. Discussing the North Korea-Russian alliance on October 30th, Dr. Wang Juntao, chairman of the China Democracy Party, stated on Elite Forum that the Russia-Ukraine war is essentially a global conflict. He noted that since World War II, major wars have often been proxy wars. In Ukraine, there are already fighters from various countries, including Chinese soldiers, American and Western volunteers, and possibly even Western special forces. He said, "When we talk about warfare, it's about both weapons and people. U.S. and Western weapons have long been in Ukraine, along with training systems, making the Ukraine conflict a quasi-global war." North Korea's cooperation with Russia could include the transfer of sensitive technologies, such as missiles and submarines. Pressured by international isolation, Moscow might be inclined to share advanced technology with Pyongyang, strengthening North Korea's military capabilities and destabilizing the region. This development is particularly troubling for China, which has tried to keep tensions on the Korean peninsula under control. North Korea's nuclear weapons are a sensitive issue for Beijing, as having nuclear arms controlled by an unpredictable leadership so close to the Chinese border is highly dangerous. Wang also commented that China is unlikely to be pleased with North Korea's troop deployment. He explained that China's stance in the Ukraine war has been about maintaining a balance. On one hand, China benefits from the conflict diverting U.S. attention. On the other, it strengthens Russia's dependence on China, allowing it to secure cheaper resources from Russia. However, North Korea's direct involvement in Ukraine may frustrate China, as it loses control over Pyongyang's actions. Independent TV producer Lee Jun pointed out the severe impact of North Korea's involvement on South Korea. Although South Korea is unlikely to send troops directly to the conflict for now, they are preparing to send military experts to support Ukraine. This may include F-16 trainers to assist with pilot training and a monitoring team to interrogate captured North Korean soldiers for intelligence. South Korea is also considering providing substantial weapon support, including the Chongung-2 air defense missile system, often dubbed the Korean Patriot, which Ukraine has requested, along with drone jamming technology to neutralize enemy drones. As Russia and North Korea deepen ties, the relationship between Beijing and Pyongyang faces increasing scrutiny. Analysts quoted by the New York Times suggest that China's leaders are likely concerned about Russia supplying North Korea with military technology in exchange for its troop deployment. This could embolden North Korea to take more aggressive actions towards South Korea and Japan. It could also reduce China's influence over the North Korean regime, despite North Korea's reliance on China for trade and aid. China has not commented on the presence of North Korean soldiers in Russia, only expressing hope that all parties work to de-escalate the situation and pursue a political resolution to the conflict.